Hi everyone, this is Fred Bravo with Alpha Bravo Tech. Today we have in a simple, what looks like to be simple, broken USB port. Let's see here. So yeah, a simple broken USB port. Looks like it just popped off. You got the little anchor legs here. They look like they're bent. Let's see if we can see that on that camera. And we still have solder there. Let's go ahead and switch to the microscope view. Okay, so yeah, see how those are bent. So we'll straighten those up. We'll clean all this up. And we will reattach this and call it good. Alright, let's get to work. Let's see here. Let's get a little wick. And that one's saturated. Throw that away. Get a little bit more wick. I'm using Goot wick. It's pretty good wick. You can probably use any other kind of wick you'd like, and it probably work just fine. Especially if you add a little bit of flux to it first. So let's see. Let me make sure I'm all the way zoomed out so we can. Yep, I'm all the way zoomed out so we can get a good view. Alright, let's clean this up. I have my iron set for 800 degrees Fahrenheit like usual. Okay. And that's pretty much saturated already. Nice and hot, but I'm going to touch it anyways. Should probably add a little bit more flux. I'm going to see if I can just pull it out anyways. I got most of it out. I'll add a tiny bit more flux and try and get that just last little bit. Okay. Let's see how that looks. Oh yeah. Looks good in the microscope. I was doing that without the microscope, obviously. And then let's clean up these pads here. Hopefully there's pads left. We'll see what I can pick up with that. Rest of that wick, and if I need more, I will cut a little piece off and get some more. Okay. So those pads are ripped a little bit, but if they've still got enough, let's see, where do those traces run? It looks like I'm gonna have to run jumpers. So this just turned a very simple job into a slightly more difficult. Let's see if I can get a better light angle. Oh, where's that little polarizer? I got a little polarizer film. Let me try this little polarizer film out. See if we can get a better image. My buddies from Soren's Electronic Repair School giving me tips on how to use this polarizer. We'll try it out. Okay, and let me turn this. And actually doesn't look too bad. It's still a little shiny from all the flux on there, but it should be pretty visible in a minute. Let's see what time we got. 2:42. I've got to go to work tonight. To my real job. Well, I mean, I say real job. This is what it is. I mean, this is what I love doing, actually. This should be my real job. You never know, maybe one day. Actually, I'm hoping to change departments. Man, there's a little piece of copper on there. I don't know if that's a pretty crappy factory solder job. That's sad when the factory solder job is I mean it's good, but when you can solder better than a machine. Okay, let's zoom in on this. Okay. Let me grab something fine pointed. Okay. So, this pad, let's see if we got something finer. Oh, that's fine. So this pad goes to this trace here. That goes up to that pad there. And I probably can still catch that right there where it's at. So we might be alright with that one. Now this one, it's disconnected right here. You can see that. I might make a little coil here or something and tap into this right here. So let me actually scratch that off a little bit. And I'll get a little bit more. Ow. Man, these are sharp. Okay, so that's that there. This one looks like it should have enough. This goes to this trace here. So that looks like it's probably going to be okay. This, I'm definitely going to have to build something here. This one is probably going to be okay because it goes to this trace here. And this one looks perfectly fine. So, let's see if we can do something fairly quickly before I go to work. And let me see this here. I need to clean these up too, straighten them out. Maybe I'll do that real quick. Let's see here. I shouldn't be jumping around, but I just feel like that's what I need to do at the moment. I need something that's not going to chop those off. Let's see. Note to self, order some new, what's it called? Needle nose, fine tip needle nose pliers. Instead of using tweezers. We'll figure that out. Okay, straighten these up a little bit. You know, instead of making that coil, I'm just gonna run a jumper. Just make life a little bit easier. This looks like it probably, yeah, oops. Probably goes forward like that. And this needs to be straightened up. Same thing with this, more than likely. You know, I'm just guessing without lining it up. Either way, you know, I'll make it work. Okay, so let's see what we've got here. Let's clean this up a little bit. Pads down here on the bottom. Should add a little flux. Keep that hot. Add a little flux. Okay, good enough. And let's see how it lines up. Seems like it lines up pretty decently. How does it sit? Well, I'd like to run jumpers. Let's see. If I run jumpers, I can be done. I just need to figure out what goes where. It looks like I need to run 3, just looking at it. I mean, they don't look like they're going to really connect like they should. Maybe the top one and the bottom one will. The bottom one will be close. Let's see. Sorry. So that bottom one will be close. Those other two, I'm not so sure. Let's see, that one. That one runs up and connects to the second one. The other one connects right next to it. This one goes up and connects to this resistor. Yeah. And the other one's fine. So that one goes up, connects to the closest one. That one connects to the further one. That one goes there. Alright. Yeah, let's just put this thing in. Let's put this thing in and run some jumpers. Let's see if I can hold that down. That's going to be tough. Actually, I think it just stayed. Question is, will it stay while I'm working on it? Probably not. Pretty good. Okay. Stayed on there pretty good. I'd like to clean it up a little bit down below. Let's see. Down underneath. let's see. This one for sure will connect. This one, it should. These two I'll have to run jumpers. This one will go to the closer pin. This one will go to that one there. Okay. And I should pretend those. Good enough. Let's see if we get a little solder. Okay, good enough. Let's see if we can, we'll add a little flux and see if we can join these together here. And I'll add a little bit there too, just for the heck of it. Okay, that connected. That connected. Okay. And that, I can actually run that jumper from there to there. It's a little shorty. And this one, can I run? No, this jumper has to go from here to here. So I can do that right there. And this one from here to here. Instead of going all the way over here like I was going to. Which, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. We'll see how it works. And that polarizer's not working as well as I was hoping it would. Let's try that. I'm going to do some camera brightness settings at a later point. Right now I don't really have the time. Okay. So put that away for a second. But I bend this just a little bit, kind of where it's supposed to go. Same thing with this one. That's nice and soldered on there. And that darker. It's got a nice peak. Not nice, but you know, hey, it's connected. That's a solid connection. This connects to here. And this one connects to here. These two connect, this and this connects. Let's see if we can do that with a jumper. And it's almost 3 o'clock. So, is that the right time? Yeah. Okay. Good. Got some time. Now, I think it would be easier probably to run the jumper from here to there, only because over here it's really tight and really close. But you know, it'll be all right. Let's see. Let me just cut a little piece of this off. Heck, here's a little piece of it here. This is 40 American gauge wire. Actually, let me see how thin that is. It'll work, but actually I think I'm going to go with a 36 gauge. Just, nope, this is a 34 gauge here. Let's just see what it looks like. Jeez. I never leave the iron like that, but just wanted to this time. So if I go from there to there, then I just break it off. That'll be pretty much perfect. So let's do that. First, let's tin the wire. I guess I'll move this out of the way. And tin the wire. put a little bit of flux just for the fun of it, because it works much better. Okay, hopefully this doesn't get too hot on my finger. And we're tinning the wire, taking off the enamel coating, and adding some solder. Okay, good enough. Let's clean the little work area because I do not like all that junk on my hands. Alright, so we still need to tin that little area there, the little trace. So let's tin that trace. Okay. Little flux. And I'm just getting over a cold, that's why I don't sound so great. That looks pretty good. Okay, and I'm getting rid of the excess solder on my iron. So we don't want too much solder. We do want a little more flux though. Wish this wasn't so shiny for you guys on the screen. Okay, so hopefully I can do this without having to stop and put PCB solder mask, but if I do, I will, if I have to. Did I use the right side? I don't think so. Yeah, I did. Did I tin this? Anyways. Yep. Yeah, it's going to be a little tough to do that, but we're going to try again. If not, I'll use the PCB solder mask. It's not a problem. I'm going to use it anyways at the end. Jeez. Put that kind of there. See, and I could put PCB solder mask on there and it'll stay for sure. But let's see here. Jeez, there that went. Yeah, it's kind of hard to do these so close. That's what I was talking about, because they it'll melt the other solder and it'll just pop right off. So let's do this first. Okay, that's on there very nicely. And you know what? Maybe I'll just run the jumper like I was originally going to run it. And I'm just taking off this little excess here. Okay, there's that. Okay, now this one went to this one. Yeah. Okay, so well, the problem is here too, I don't want to really touch anything else. So, I don't know, maybe that's not a good idea, because I've already tinned a lot of this. Okay, so if I put PCB solder mask here, I can just tack that down. I might put a little bit here too. Let me clean this up a little bit. Should probably go ahead and do this side too. Okay, so let's do this. Let's add a little flux, and then we'll tin this pad, this little half a pad that's there. Okay, and then we will try and do this in one swoop. Let me bend this first. I'm trying to catch it so I can bend it a little bit. Okay, there's that. Okay, let's try and get both of them. It's connected, but I'm trying to get a more of a solid connection. See, and if I go ahead and anchor that down right there with the PCB solder mask, I can come back and fix it up a little bit better. So let's move this a little bit so we're not touching that resistor there. Okay. And let's clean it up. Let's get some air to dry this up. 100 degrees Celsius with a 120 liter per minute airflow. And that's probably about as dry as it's going to get. Let's get that PCB solder mask. Let's see here. Put some here. And I should have pushed down on this. Let me see. Because we want that jumper to be on top of that trace. And we want it to be pretty flat. And that looks pretty good there. Okay, so let's add some more. And this one I might try and add a bunch. So we're going to solder right there. Alright, let's harden that up for about a minute. And hopefully I didn't move those too much. And we will give them another layer and harden them up a little bit more. Well, it looks pretty decent. I'm going to give it a little bit more. I used to let this light sit for quite a while. And I'm talking about like 20 minutes. But I mean, I always knew there was no need to let it sit for that long. I don't know. Lately, I've been letting it go for a couple minutes. I think you're really supposed to. I don't know what the actual instructions for this thing are. I think maybe be about maybe a minute or so. But we'll check it out here after about a minute, and we'll poke at it and see how hard it is, and then we'll touch up that solder, and we'll call it done. Oh, we'll test it and then we'll call it done. Alright, it's probably been about a minute. I don't really know. Let's take a look at how hard this is. Well, actually, let's let it sit for a little bit longer. It's a little softer than I would have liked. Alright, so it's probably been about another minute or so. Let's take a look. I wonder if there's some residual left. It seems like there's a little liquid at the top, but I wonder if that's because there was flux and alcohol on the board. I don't know. Anyways, let's get this looking a little bit better. And let's tack that down. And let's call it good. Okay, we could probably tack this down first. It really doesn't matter. I forgot to add some solder to that. To this here. It doesn't matter. It'll be fine. Okay, that looks solid, but I'm going to add a little bit more solder to it. Well, it looked solid for a second. Oh yeah, that's connected now. Definitely, if it wasn't before. And let's see if we still got enough. Well, did I hit that resistor? Sure did. It looks so ugly. Let's put a little flux and make it look pretty. Oh, prettier. Okay. That should be it. Let's try and get another peek in there, on the side at least. Okay, so that is soldered down to the trace. It's kind of dark. But it looks good, and we can test that with continuity mode in a second. And for now, let's cut this excess off. And I'm just going to use the knife and just cut that there. And I'll cut this one here. Okay, that's good enough. And you don't have to put a lot of pressure, you know, if you've got a decent little knife. Okay. Alright, so let's clean that up a little bit. Then we will check with continuity mode with the multimeter. And we'll make sure we have continuity. And that traces that jumper's kind of in the way there. It's not going to hurt anything, so I'm just going to leave it like that right there. Okay. Ugly little peak there. This is an ugly job, but I don't usually do jobs. I mean, if it's straightforward and it's an easy solder job, obviously it's going to look pretty. But something like this, a little data recovery, it's going to be back in its case. I'm not too worried about how it looks. Okay, so because we know this trace is about here or so, and then it runs over here, we will check from here, because that's what we want. We want this. We want in here, which is in this pin. We want it to be connected to where it goes on the board. Alright, so on the board, we said it went here. And we have continuity. Now it shouldn't have any here, because that's the one next to it. That's this one. And that one has continuity. So we ran that jumper from here to here, and that ran to the trace. So, and let me make sure I'm not touching the ground, because this is the ground here. I'll check again. Perfect. And then we'll check this one again. Perfect. Now we know this went here, and that, let's see if you guys can see that on the camera. This went here, so we'll see if that's good, and it is. So yeah. So this one to there, that one to there, and it's good. So we'll test it. We'll clean it up a little bit more first. Get a little alcohol. I could throw it in the ultrasonic, but I think this is going to clean it just fine. And that looks good down there. That looks good enough up here. Now we're just trying to make this work. And it's going to work. That jumper looks... right there, it kind of looks like it's... oh man, you guys can't see that very well. It kind of looks like it's not on there totally, but it is definitely on there totally. It's just the angle that it looks like. Okay, so let's test it. And plugged in, and it recognizes it is dark blue. There's a problem with this drive. Whatever. There's dark blue. Everything came up, and I'll have to blur this out, I guess. But yeah, that was it. So this was Fred Bravo with Alpha Bravo Tech. I'm doing a repair on a broken USB flash drive. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you need anything fixed in the future, shoot me a comment. I'll maybe put an address where you can send stuff if you need stuff fixed, need a little solder job, whatever it might be. And anyways, please subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I hope you learned something, and thanks.